It looks like we have people from a lot of different places. Welcome. We are so excited you are joining us for our webinar series, A Wildflower Path, Navigating Wellness Through Life's Seasons. This is our fifth session out of 6, and today's session is titled Sacred Pathways, Connecting to Nature and Spirituality. I'm Amanda Lyon, a training and technical assistant specialist for the National Center on Domestic Violence, Trauma, and Mental Health. Also hosting this webinar is Tori Wynecoop, our training and technical assistance manager. We are also joined today by special guests, Dr. Maria Corona, the Executive Director of the Iowa Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and Lindsay Pingel, the Director of Community for the Iowa Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Our center is headquartered in Chicago, the unceded homelands of the Council of the Three Fires, the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations. We invite each person to learn about the land you're connected to. One resource to get started is the website native-land.ca. I'll start off our webinar today talking about the connections of spirituality and healing. Then our guests from the Iowa Coalition will share about their program, and Tori will close by sharing a little more about connections with nature. Integrating spirituality into our lives and connecting with nature can reduce our sense of isolation and disconnection by helping us to feel a connection to something larger than ourselves and bring perspective to our place in the world and our own existence. Spirituality means different things to different people and is often very personal. While some people may find spirituality through their faith, practices, and communities, others may cultivate spirituality through meditation or mindfulness practices, movement or breath work with a spiritual intention, creative expression, or finding ways to explore personal meaning and purpose, connection with others, or sharing empathy, compassion, and kindness, cultural practices, rituals, ceremonies, or rites of passage. When we think about spirituality, we remember that wellness truly encompasses not just our physical body, but also our emotional and spiritual selves. Let's take a moment and share in the chat. How do you use spirituality to support your well-being? And I would love to hear if you have any particular practices or intentions. For example, trying to get the chat ready. I particularly like to find like a positive affirming statement to use while I'm swimming, or sometimes lighting a candle at my desk or incense to help clear my mind and bring me back to the present moment. And Tori, not to put you on the spot, but is there anything that you'd like to share?
I think spirituality is also very much grounded in culture, and that's usually how I connect with my spirituality, is whether that's, well, I guess I'll give a recent example. For me, I've been connecting with my spirituality through um, relearning my indigenous language, which has been really healing and really helpful in helping me feel connected within myself and with my community as well. So thanks
Thank
for
you.
opening that up.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much because I think it's interesting too. We could even define spirituality for ourselves in so many different ways. Um, and sometimes we might feel resistance to describing something as spiritual. Um, so, for example, I'm looking at the chat, like an art making practice. We could describe that as being spiritual or potentially not. It might just be in how we hold and interpret some activities for ourselves. Other people using meditation or sage, lighting a candle before an activity. Yeah, sometimes how we choose to set a space or open ourselves up in the moment, connecting with, yeah, our spiritual or religious practices, our faith-based practices, using our deep breathing, listening to different music, reading spiritual texts, using our crystals, which I think is also another example of that connection with nature and spirituality. Um, Beautiful. So next, as an example of a spiritual practice, I'm going to share an inner light visualization. So take a moment to feel comfortable in your space, just to settle in, and notice just how am I feeling right now? How's my physical body doing? How am I feeling emotionally? How am I feeling mentally? With this practice, you can set an intention or say a short prayer or ask for guidance from ancestors or spiritual sources in a way that aligns with your beliefs. So, examples of some intentions or requests would be, please help me to feel full of love and safety. I am safe and my love is abundant. I trust my intuition and my ability to care for myself. My body is safe. I am relaxed. My true nature is joy. I love myself. I honor myself and I take care of myself. So maybe drawing in some intention that feels good to you today. When you're practicing at home, you could also choose an inspiring phrase that's from a book or a song or a poem. And then place your hands somewhere comfortable, wherever they're currently resting. Some people like to rest their hands on their abdomen or over their heart, wherever it feels good. And as you settle in, bring some awareness to the breath. And if that feels good, you can allow your breathing to slow down and deepen just a little bit. As you do so, visualize a ball of light at the center of your chest, choosing a color that feels healing, protective, or uplifting, such as gold, white, pink, or green, but any color that feels good to you. With every breath, just imagine that ball of light in your heart is glowing a little bit brighter and getting a little bit bigger. You can continue using your phrase like, I am safe, or any other intention. Imagine that light moving down through your shoulders, your arms, all the way to your fingertips. It's easy for the light to keep getting brighter. It expands down through your torso, your hips, your legs, all the way to your toes. Continuing to get brighter. Now it expands up through your head, again glowing brighter, filling up your whole body, and maybe it even extends beyond your physical body. It can go above, below, in front, and behind, out to both sides, imagining that you are surrounded by a whole glowing sphere of light. Again, reaffirm your intention. And you can express gratitude to yourself for taking this moment of care. Or you could also express gratitude to any other spiritual helpers you called upon. And as you come back, just notice how that feels, and if the short practice has made any shifts or changes in your state of being. And if you like, you're welcome to share any responses to the practice in the chat, or if you found an affirmation that came to you that you really enjoyed, or you found a color of light that really worked for you. I'd love to see some of your thoughts. And while you're considering that, we're going to start moving into our next section of practice. And I'm going to introduce Lindsay Pingel, again, the Director of Community Engagement, and Dr. Maria Corona, the Executive Director of the Iowa Coalition. And the Iowa Coalition Against Domestic Violence observes Domestic Violence Awareness Month with its annual Dia de los Muertos Tribute in Des Moines, Iowa. So I'm very excited to turn it over to them and to share more about their program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Amanda. I'm very relaxed after that. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lindsay Pingel. As Amanda mentioned, I'm the Director of Community Engagement with the Iowa Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and I'm joined today by my Executive Director, Dr. Maria Corona, and we are very excited to talk with you a little bit about our organization and the annual Dia de los Muertos Tribute that we've held for the past 4 years in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month each October. Go to the next slide. Share my screen, sorry about that. So a little bit about us. The Iowa Coalition Against Domestic Violence supports a network of 22 victim service provider agencies serving all 99 Iowa counties. We connect survivors to resources and services they need in their respective communities, and we advocate for policy and community change that makes Iowa a safer place for everyone. Our mission is simple. It's to engage all people in a movement to prevent and end domestic violence in all Iowa communities. We do this through education, advocacy, and quality services. Last year, the network of 22 statewide victim service provider agencies we support served just over 49,000 individuals impacted by violence. These individuals, families, and communities were impacted not only by domestic violence, but by human trafficking, sexual assault, and other violent crimes. Our long-term goal is to end the threat of violence for everyone. We take a survivor-centered approach to victim services and believe that community-based agencies and systems should work together to listen and respond to the experiences of those most vulnerable in our communities. With this approach, we believe we all can enhance the safety for survivors and their families so everyone has the ability to thrive and live a life free from violence. And I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Corona to share some history about the tradition of Dia de los Muertos and more information about our event each year.
Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes. My name is Dr. Corona. Thank you, Lindsay, for that intro. Thank you for having us here today. So I wanted to share a little bit about this tradition in the way that we honor it as well. So the Day of the Dead is the translation to Dia de los Muertos or Dia del Difunto. It's really celebrated in many Latin American countries. And typically this starts in the month of November 1st or 2nd, usually to honor those family members that have passed away, friends or loved ones who have passed away. So I'll give you some examples first before we jump into the Dia de los Muertos that we sort of host. So in Guatemala, for example, they do this sort of kite festival to honor their loved ones who've passed away. They believe that kites communicate with spirits and guide them. In Peru, they have cemetery. They go to the cemeteries to spend time with their loved ones with food and music. And in Ecuador, which is where I'm from, we also do something similar like in Peru. So we visit the cemeteries with food and music, and we have traditional food as well, like the colada morada, which is a purple corn drink, and then the guaguas de pan, which is like bread in shapes of babies. And this is traditions that come from a shared indigenous and spiritual heritage for Latin America. Not everyone does it. These sort of traditions also have to be passed down, right? So not a lot of people engage in them. For the Dia de los Muertos tribute that we host, we do focus on the Mexican tradition, which is often known here in the United States, not only because of its proximity to Mexico, but because the Latin American immigrants that the largest population of Latin American immigrants is from Mexico. They bring their culture with them, right? And so, of course, you all probably have seen the movie Coco, which also like popularized this tradition in many ways and took it across frontiers. So people are kind of aware and more in the know about what Dia de los Muertos from the tradition of the Mexican culture is. And so that's the one that we sort of center, and mainly it is because it is led by our staff who are from the Mexican, either born and raised there and immigrants here, or a 1 or 1.5 generation immigrant with Mexican background. And so we sort of combine this honoring to ensure that we elevate and honor the victims of domestic violence homicide in Iowa, and those that we know are often not elevated in the media. But to talk a little bit about the tradition, we in this work, families create an altar or ofrenda with pictures of the loved ones. They have candles, they have food, flowers. They do use a lot of marigold flowers. And then also they have specific elements which it differ by sector of Mexico. So, but usually they have like salt, or they'll have inciensos. And someone needs to help me with that on the chat, because I don't know if I can translate that exactly. But you have specific things that you bring into the altar to honor and remember your loved ones. And also, commonly you use the food incense. That's correct. You use the food or symbols that represent and that your loved one appreciated when they were alive. So it's a way to honor and celebrate and to keep them alive in your family and community and culture, etc. So we use this powerful space and cultural piece to connect it to um, um, domestic violence specifically, right? But we have expanded, right? We have expanded to like honoring folks that have passed, that have been, from communities of color, like from like missing and murdered Indigenous women, or from like the Black Lives Matter movement type of work that has been done, specifically centering women, trans folks, trans women, LGBTQ folks. But we, and you can play that if you can. Awesome. There's no sound, but these are some of the pictures that we wanted to share with all of you. Again, like I mentioned in the beginning, we do this in a way to honor and remember the names and the faces and the stories of those lost to violence in recognition of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, although we do start it in October. But it is so close to November and to the connection there to the Latin American tradition. So we decided to start it in October to honor them, specifically those who have passed due to domestic violence homicide during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And again, as I mentioned, we highlight the stories that are often never told, the ones that are not often elevated on the media, the stories of women of color, particularly missing and murdered Indigenous women, trans folks. And then also we invite speakers from those communities. We had invited speakers from the Meskwaki Nation here, who was connected to one of the missing and murdered Indigenous women from here, from our state of Iowa. And we want to make sure that we bring the voices of the communities as well. So we often have them come and, if they can, share their stories. We also don't do this, we want to make sure we do it through the honoring of their family members. So they're welcome to come and put we also ask for permission, right? Like they're welcome to come, but also we ask for permission to set up their picture in our ofrenda or in our altar. And we bring other community groups to participate. So in this way, we are doing a community cultural-based event that is really tied to folks' cultures, origins, but spirituality, but also in a way that we can spread the awareness about domestic violence in a way that honors those victims, as opposed to making it about their tragic loss of life. And so we often have information about the murder individual or person who lost their life due to domestic violence in positive ways. We talk about the things they liked. We put little summaries next to their pictures about the things they like, about their joys, and about the way that their families describe them. And so we try to, again, celebrate their life. And then also it gives us a way to connect to community in a different perspective. Close to home is what I usually say, in a way that they're open and able to talk about it and recognize that this is an issue. So it's gone very well for us. We have children activities in there. We have face painting, bouncy houses we had last year. Although I don't think we will do it again, but we have traditional food and drinks. Like we bring chocolate caliente, like hot chocolate, and pan de muertos, or kind of like guaguas de pan, is like the specific bread for that you use in this tradition. And we actually go to the Mexican shops to ask them to contribute for this event, and they're so happy to do it. They often are partners of ours in these events. And then we have live music, and we have spoken word or other forms of artistic expression. I don't know if one of the pictures are there, but last year we had charros with their lazos, and they came, and it was just amazing. Like the community is really open to this, and they receive it. And we've increased the amount of attendees here. Like we went from a couple hundred to 300 people last year. We provided free tacos as well. So I think that was also an incentive for, I think I think we did 200 or 300 free tacos in general. And then the business owner, right, who's from the community as well, ended up giving away another 100 to people for free. And so, of course, we partner, we pay them and all of that, but we provide that for free to the community. Then we have a community resource fair as well. So we bring our partners from like the primary health clinic with their mobile health truck. And we have like our immigration legal support services in there as well, so that they can get connected, and much more. So it is a very amazing community event. We are really, really happy to be part of this. And then we do have a video. I don't know if Lindsay, you wanted to add anything to this?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add is the ofrenda that is designed every year. We've been fortunate to not only work with just community volunteers who have reached out and asked if they could create it, but youth organizations in our community who have taken it on as a project. And I think not only is it a highlight every year that people come to see, but to see how they've taken it under their own and kind of created and are presenting their vision of what it looks like has been really special.
Yes. Yes, that first ofrenda from the history of the that we had up here on the slide was particularly designed by that one, a Latino youth group here in the local area, and we contract them. We contract them like artists, and we pay them to do this work for us, and they do it, and we don't change anything. You know, we often give them the pictures that we've had over time, but then of course, and unfortunately, as many of you know, we see new names and new faces in here every year. I wish we didn't, but that's the fact. And in the process of them doing that, they're able to talk as a group. And then we often offer to be there in spaces with them to address domestic violence and other forms of gender-based violence. And so if you want to play, we have a little video to share with all of you. Actually, this is a video we haven't shared with anyone yet, so you're all the first to see. This is a video we will start using in our marketing materials next year.
Tu nombre traigo este día para darme felicidad, recordarte en vida, risas y complicidad, charlas compartidas, susurros y cocinar. Necesito ahora mi secreto a ti revelar. Mis muertos me acompañarán, me darán tranquilidad, convierten tristeza en canción, habitan el aire con su voz. Quiero decirles, siento fuerza y serenidad. Por mí estén felices, mis días seguirán, estaremos juntos, aquí o en el más allá, viento y melodías, reunidos nos hacen danzar. Mis muertos me acompañarán, me darán tranquilidad, convierten tristeza en canción, habitan el aire con su voz. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. La
I get goosebumps just watching it. Well, with that, again, thank you for allowing Dr. Corona and I the time to be in community with all of you here today. If you'd like to learn more about our organization or our Dia de los Muertos tribute, I think that some links are going to be shared in the chat, but you can always reach us at www.icadv.org. And I believe our contact information will be shared with you after this as well. And if there's any questions, we're happy to answer them. And if not, I will pass it back over to Amanda.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, please feel free to put any questions in the chat. We will also have time for more questions at the end. And see, I'm going to go ahead and share the slides again and turn it over to Tori.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tori, and Amanda gave a brief introduction of me in the beginning of today's session. Just as a reminder, I am the Training and Technical Assistance Manager here at the center. I am from the Spokane tribe. I was born and raised on the Spokane Indian Reservation. And I also have family lineage and kinship with the Sampoil and Lakes Band of the Colville tribes, and as well as the Coeur d'Alene tribe. I want to start off by just expressing gratitude for having Lindsay and Dr. Corona here with us today. That was such a beautiful and powerful message that you send with the Dia de los Muertos event and the ofrendas that you have put together over the years. It really is a beautiful way to showcase not just the pain that we've all experienced within communities. It's a way to show the beauty and the power of coming together and the lives of those that we've lost through violence. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I say that because with Amanda's spirituality and the Dia de los Muertos tribute, I really think that it connects very well to nature in general. I had shared earlier that the way that I connect to spirituality is right now by relearning my indigenous language, which is Salish, and then to be given this cultural example through Lindsay and Dr. Corona with their event, I think comes together nicely in showing that spirituality and nature are also very much interconnected as well, especially within cultural context. And I do want to say that there are many ways to connect with culture or with nature. For myself, I connect with culture a lot through what it means to be an Indigenous woman and the lands that we live on within my community. I also do want to say that there are many ways to connect with nature, regardless if you're in a rural area, a suburban area, or a metropolitan. And spending time in or with nature is a beautiful way to connect within ourselves and to the environment around us. And there are many ways to do it by going on walks or nearby trails, through your neighborhoods, or even by the water. And so right now, I want to invite you all to share in the chat the different ways that you engage with nature. And in case you didn't hear it, oh, yeah, thank you for sharing. I see hiking, planting, walking barefoot. Ooh, I love walking barefoot. Laying out in the grass, gardening, watching wildlife, listening to its cues. I see that someone is grateful for having a balcony that faces the woods and living within miles of a big, beautiful lake. Smelling the flowers in the spring. Rebuilding pollinator gardens with native plants. Oh, that's fun. That's really cool. I actually saw one of those in Chicago last summer in one of the neighborhoods, and I thought it was so interesting to see that in a big city like this. Taking care of the land and harvesting our native plants and medicines. Playing in the ocean. Oh my gosh, I'm jealous that you live by an ocean. Walking outside and your hummingbird feeder, medicine walks, the sunset in your village, and just having a cup of tea outside your porch. Yeah, there are a lot of ways that we can connect with nature within our surrounding environments. And I also like to add that we can also connect with nature even if we can't access it through physical means. This can be done through imagination and through meditative practices such as the grounding tree visualization here that I would like to share with you all today. Could you go to the next slide, please, Amanda? Thank you. So this visualization is similar to the visualization that was done in the spirituality section. It's just a little bit different, a little bit adjusted, and that this visualization practice uses the images of a tree to promote grounding, safety, connection, and connection to nature. So connection within ourselves and to others. It consists of two parts, growing roots for stability and branching upward for expansion and healing. You may find this practice helpful if you're feeling uncertain, overwhelmed, or disconnected. So I, again, invite you all to do this practice with me. I want you all to find a comfortable position, ideally with your feet on the floor, and place your hands in a way that feels natural. So you may want to focus on your breath, letting it slow and deepen. Now, I want you to visualize a ball of light at your heart center in a color that feels healing or protective. For myself, the color I always imagine is purple. And a big part of it is because growing up, I was raised by my grandma and her favorite color was purple, and everything in her house is some sort of shade of purple. So I've always chosen that color. Now, imagine a seed in your heart. Oh, imagine a seed in your heart sprouting roots that I'm sorry, I think I ended up on the Spanish. So imagine a seed in your heart sprouting roots that extends through your torso, legs, feet, and earth. If standing, bend your knees slightly. With each breath, let your roots grow stronger, deepening into the earth until they feel sturdy to support a mighty tree. Be gentle and patient with yourself. If your branches or roots feel that sturdy,
this is the interpreter. I'm getting the Spanish interpretation coming in, and so it's making it hard to understand you.
Yeah, I am too. Is there a way we can adjust that?
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know what happened. Give me just a second, y'all.
No worries. Okay, I'll continue. So if you wish, release any tensions, emotions, or worries through your roots, allowing the earth to accept and transform them. Draw energy from the earth through your roots, feeling grounded, nurtured, and protected. Stay here as long as needed and offer gratitude to the earth. Now, this is the second part of this visualization that is optional for you to participate in. So again, I invite you to come with me on this journey. Grounded in your strong roots, shift focus back to your heart center. Imagine your body as a tree trunk, growing branches from the top of your head toward the sky. Imagine leaves and flowers emerging, nourished by the earth's energy. Let your branches grow at a balanced size, strong but not overwhelming. Imagine the sun's warmth energizing your leaves and flowers. Or picture a gentle rain falling that's nourishing your tree. Feel a soft breeze moving through your branches, flexible yet anchored, and try raising your arms, swaying gently as you imagine the light breeze. Bring your attention back to your heart center, gathering the elements of nature, earth, sun, rain, wind, into yourself. Place your hands over your heart, feeling natured, and offer gratitude before moving on with your day. So now we are coming to the end of today's session, and I wanted to end it with a poem that's by Jo Harjo. She's a member of the Muskogee Nation and a renowned American poet, musician, and activist. She holds the distinction of being the first Native American to serve as U.S. Poet Laureate from 2019 to 2022. The poem I will be ending for you all on is called the Eagle Poem. To pray, you open your whole self to sky, to earth, to sun, to moon, to one whole voice that is you. And know there is more that you can't see, can't hear, can't know except in moments, steadily growing and in languages that are always sound, but other circles of motion. Like eagle that Sunday morning over Salt River, circled in blue sky and wind, swept our hearts clean with sacred wings. We see you, see ourselves, and know that we must take the utmost care and kindness in all things. Breathe in, knowing we are made of all this, and breathe, knowing we are truly blessed because we were born and die soon within a true circle of motion, like eagle rounding out the morning inside us. We pray that it will be done in beauty, in beauty. Okay, Amanda, can you go to the next slide? So again, I want to thank you all for attending today's session and really appreciate all of the participation that we can see in the chat or that you were doing at your desk, maybe taking notes. I do want to share, because I briefly saw the question, that the 2 practices that were talked about today are in our Mind, Body, Spirit toolkit that will hopefully be released by the end of this year. It's really exciting and a lot of good work and heart and energy that's been put into that toolkit. And so right now we are going to open it for any questions. Yeah, I'm glad you feel relaxed. That is the goal of today's webinar.
I'll also just mention we're so grateful for Lindsay and Dr. Corona to join us, and we truly hope that if you've been able to join just today's webinar or some of the others in our series, that some of these stories inspire you to think about what else is possible within your programs and communities. And I really appreciate all the community relationships you shared about, Dr. Corona. It seems like it's made possible through partnerships.
For sure. And we sort of kick off the celebration because there's many of the local community members that do their own Dia de los Muertos tributes. And so we're kind of the first, we kick it off, and the community has welcomed that because we are partnering in community, and often, again, like I said, we ask a community group, specifically Latino youth is what we usually seek to develop the altar. So it's a great event, really. It's really fulfilling.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have you here today, and I'm also appreciating people excited about the release of the toolkit. Believe me, we are also beyond excited. And yeah, our final webinar next month in the series, we are going to be talking a little bit more about organizational pieces and community and what it might look like to put together events that are for healing and wellness in your community too. So we're very excited to keep the conversation going.
Do we want to share the resources we have for today?
All right, let's take a look. So we invite you to stay connected to us. We do have our newsletter that you can sign up for, and we typically send out an email once a month with any new products or upcoming webinars. Our webinars are usually no cost. We have all of our currently available resources for free. You can download them and use them on our website. We do have a related toolkit, a short guide about faith and spirituality in trauma resilience, recovery, and healing. Again, this will be linked in the slides. We really encourage you to check this out. It's a beautiful resource. And I know we mentioned the guide for emotional support. Again, looking for ways to talk about how to offer emotional support and to create emotional support plans for yourself and for others. It can be a place to help you remember to utilize, the practices that offer support. And we have our Tools for Transformation toolkit, becoming accessible, culturally responsive, and trauma-informed organizations. We also have some implementation support guides to support organizations to actually really go through their transformations. With our toolkit, we have a core curriculum. Again, if you want to do staff trainings or even just to learn more yourself, we have supportive materials so you can integrate this material into your programs. We also have a training series, and resources on trauma, healing, and mental health. And we have a whole page on survivor health connections for advocates and behavioral health providers supporting well-being, safety, and making connections across all different types of services. Oh, I'm sorry. I see. Oh, you will be getting a link to the presentation. So I'm not sure which slide 14 is. But that was the end. If somebody was looking for a specific link, you will receive everything in the email. We are really thankful to everyone who's attended our webinar today. We are really grateful to our interpreters, to our center team who made this all together work out. We're really grateful to our special guests. There was a link provided in the chat for a survey. So please let us know what worked and how we did today. Within the next week, you will get a follow-up email with a link to the recording of today's webinar. And you will get a certificate of attendance for your time and a link to the evaluation if you're unable to complete it right now. So thanks again. We really hope you have a lovely afternoon. I'll stay on for just a little bit longer to see if there's any final thoughts or questions that come up. Thank you. Thanks to everybody expressing your gratitude. It's so nice to see your feedback. Thank you, everyone.